Man, oh man. Bears lose to the Los Angeles Rams in overtime, 20-17. Caleb got them into overtime, but he threw 3 interceptions. We got a lot to go into. One, this was one hell of a season. And actually, even with the interceptions, this was one hell of a game. There was a lot of drops out there also, a couple misplaced balls, maybe a fourth down or two that should have been a field goal. But it's still a celebration, if we're being honest. We got to talk about the offensive line play. I think Alex hinted to it the last episode as far as Joe Thuney maybe popping out to left tackle. McPherson coming in and doing a good job at left guard. You hated on him. Dennis Allen did his thing again this week.
All right. My goodness.
And then he had his guys. And guess who was a step healthier? One thing we talked about, Kyler Gordon. But this was a brisker game. This was a 22-2. This was a 2022 Ryan Poles first 2-pick game, to say the least. But we're gonna get into all that. But let's just start off right away with the quarterback. Caleb Williams was 23 for 42, 257 yards, 2 TDs, 3 interceptions for a passer rating of 59.3. On the flip side, Matthew Stafford, 20 of 42, 258 yards. But these guys' games were eerily similar for zero TDs, 0 interceptions, and a QB rating of 67 as they had to go to the run game because Dennis Allen was giving Matthew Stafford fits after they scored their first touchdown.
Matthew Stafford did not look comfortable.
He did not like that. That's again, we'll get to the defensive side, but we have to, particularly for the disrespect. There's 2 people we got to put some respect on, and one of them I was going back and forth because he threw 3 interceptions this game. But we still, and thank you, we appreciate that. We still have to put some respect on his name for all the haters. This has been a lot of haters, and I'm pulling out pistols for the haters on this. It's not the penultimate; it's the ultimate episode for the season. We hoped What's the word for 3 times before the end? Because penultimate is second to last.
Whatever I don't know. That's a good question.
Whatever the third one is, we hoped that was going to be it for the Super Bowl run.
Hope there were 2 more,
but it's not. Yeah, we hoped it was 2 more, but it's not. The Rams are going to go to Seattle to get their asses kicked. We're not going to get to see the Bears versus the Patriots, which partially like how things was going out. I never want the Patriots to get revenge on the Bears for what they did back in '85. I was a young kid enough to remember that. And that was such abuse. You always want to run away and hope that revenge is never reciprocated. So we don't want so that's a little bright spot that
they won't lose the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, just because particularly Mike Grable's first year and the connection between Caleb Williams and Drake May, we don't need that. Again, I'm looking for roses here.
Yeah, you're wearing some rosy colored glasses right now.
They're not rosy because this was a really good game from the point of a team that had as good as players as you, but a better coach because Sean McVay has a Super Bowl. Sean McVay has done this for going on 9 seasons, 8 or 9 seasons, I believe.
15th. This was his 15th playoff.
This is 15th season, and he's not even 40. Game. Okay,
15th playoff.
Because he couldn't be because I believe one of the guys that's a candidate this year will be the first coach if he's hired to be hired at 30. So Sean McVay I think Sean McVay was 32 when he first got the. When he first got that job. But what were your thoughts as we open up this episode also of the Windy City podcast presented by Fanside? I'm Kenneth Davis. That's Alex Shapiro. I apologize.
Hey, that was a game like that required a long cold open. Required a big cold open.
And it deservingly so because there were still questions.
Yes.
But there was still a lot of answers too.
Yeah. So here's what I think. I mean, you got the rosy colored glasses on. I think it is hard for any other feeling other than disappointment from the Bears' perspective. And you can talk all about growth and the windows being open and opportunities and Caleb. And
that was prior to we started too for everybody that's listening.
No. I'm talking about anybody out there. I think there's a lot of people talking about the window is open. The future is bright. I think it's hard. I think it's hard not to be disappointed because, man, did the Chicago Bears have opportunities in this football game to go out and really win this thing. And then you're in an NFC Championship game. You can get Sam Darnold to turn the ball over, and you can start playing your way again.
Oh, wait. Did you see that game? Did you see that Seattle game yesterday?
You look pretty good, but
it's not even him. Them dudes, man, they may be better than the Legion. They may be better than the Legion of Boom. The dark side, because you're talking about this era, what they're doing in a more complicated offensive era, what they're doing. Again, I'm not saying that there's not a chance, but you know how I said this, and I'll let you rock, that I wouldn't pick against the Bears. Guess what I was going to do probably next week and hit towards? I was going to slightly hit towards Seattle.
I don't know, man.
Dude. Did you see that? Did you see that back end zone pass to Jackson Smith and Jigba? Yeah, where it wasn't just great. And again, I know you went to SC, but I was a Sam Darnold guy. Like, again, I don't know if the toad is if he's going to revert back. But go ahead and rock with what you're about to say, so we can clash right now.
You are taking on the best offense in the NFL, best in yards, best in points. The defense does an unbelievable job of holding that offense in check, forcing turnovers on downs. Dennis Allen in his bag, bringing the pressure. Jaquan Brisker had his best game of the year. Kyler Gordon was looking like himself. Montez Sweat creating pressure. Dom Robb out there creating pressure.
You're Dom Robb. You got Dom Robb and Sweat. You got your Dom Robb this game.
They held Devontae Adams almost entirely in check until the very end of that game. Puka Nacua, 5. Say what you will. Everybody's banged up, man. Everybody's banged up. The job that the defense did against that offense was so spectacular. And the opportunities that the Bears had on offense. Roma Dunze, early in that game, drops a touchdown.
Right.
I mean, changes the course of the game. I don't really mind the fourth down aggression, to be honest, because you're probably thinking we got to put up points to keep up with this team. That ended up not being the case. But they converted on one fourth down. They converted on one for a TD.
You have to know sometimes. Sometimes you have to take the points.
Sometimes, but I didn't have a problem with that. What I had a huge problem with, the short yardage execution. 3rd and 1. How many 3rd and 1s were they stuffed? How many 4th and 1s were they stuffed? They finally got one on a sneak, but they tried the ball inside. They tried the ball outside.
But one side of the line, you couldn't use one side of the line though, Alex. Like,
but they could. They
wasn't. They were running to the right. Look, I'm not saying that they weren't running.
But then when they did run to the left a few times, it was okay.
But that was that was a throw off though. That wasn't. We choose on both sides. That was a throw off right there, right? Like,
maybe mix it up.
Look, I'll give you this. If you look, it's okay to kick a field goal. Like I'm the biggest BJ fan around this piece, right? Sometimes that over aggression, and I'll give you, okay, at first, we don't know how the offense is going to go. We don't know how well their offense is going to be. We need to go for it. At some points, take the cheap points and get your ass out of there. That's one thing that they have to do. Yeah. But then I'll give you the Colston. There was a Colston drop. There was a Burton drop. Yeah, drop. There was a lot that part where. But this is the thing. There was a problem because Rome is a body catcher, right? That Rome doesn't, unless it's above his head, Rome usually does not extend out to catch passes. That's not necessarily his forte. Hopefully, he damn well better get better in that. There was a lot of drop passes, but the flip side, and this is why I disagree with you, both of these offenses were affected by the environment that they were playing in too. Like just you have to add that to this. There's a reason why when we both thought this game was going to get closer to 30 points, it was 20-17. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a reason to that because it was cold as you know what, and because you wanted to go live, I can't drop that you know what on here, right? But it was cold as you know what. So it like they, in all fairness, yes, I was disappointed. If they didn't make it to OT, this would have been some more heat on this piece. You know what I'm saying? But for what it was a magical season. I like this.
We got Coach Strata in the chat. For folks who are listening on audio later, we're live streaming, so we got folks in the chat, and I think Kenneth was reading a comment.
It was a magical season. The Bears accomplished more than we all thought they would this year. The NFC North champions won 2 games against the Packers and a playoff victory. They'll be back.
Thank you. Listening from Vietnam. So shout out Cookie Strata. I hope I pronounced that right.
The overseas. Yeah.
Here's my thinking on that, and here's why I think it leads to the disappointment. I hear you. Yes. You could argue that the Bears are ahead of schedule. It's year 2 for Caleb Williams. It's year 1.
It's not an argument. They are ahead of schedule, Alex.
I'm sure, you don't get to point last year. The Commanders are saying the same thing. I'm sure the past couple of years, the Lions have been saying the same thing. Coaches are going to leave. Players are going to leave. This locker room is going to be different. This team, even though they were banged up, was healthy. Like Caleb Williams is healthy.
This is totally different from
Shapiro suffers an injury that might end his career.
How would it? He blew it. Dog, I had ACL surgery.
He didn't have an ACL. Man, he had a patellar tendon.
That's that.
Bad injury. My point is,
come back from.
There are no guarantees. There are no guarantees in the NFL.
Because now we're grasping at straw. Wait. I had to have my patella tendon used to regraft my ACL. So I actually don't have a patella tendon in one space. He will be fine. All right. Like he will. I'm telling you, he will be fine. They will either get a donor or they will use a different type of muscle to replace his patella tendon. And we don't know if it was even a clean tear or if there was a tear between several of his patella tendons. All right. But point being, the whole thing with Jaden, I'm going to go back to the examples you said. Jaden Daniels, they didn't have the players around Jaden Daniels that the Bears have. Like they're now looking for someone to be outside of Scary Terry. They didn't have the dual running back situation. They didn't have the offensive line situation. The Bears only have to fix their defense. And this, again, I'm not even super caping, but we knew, and for anybody thinking, like I thought that the Commanders, that may not be the same the second year because they were just hot. The Bears were hot too, right? But saw they had to grow through this. The Commanders were just good last year and caught everyone by surprise. People didn't even think the Bears were any you-know-what, and they came along. But your Lions comp, I think that's flawed from the point of this. The Lions have had several years to break through. So that's an apples and oranges comparison between the Lions and the Commanders. The Lions had 3 seasons where they had a chance to do it. So the Bears are ahead of schedule, one, when you compare them to the Lions, because when the Lions first beat Green Bay when they were getting good, they didn't even make the playoffs. So again, I disagree because, one, even if we look at the Jaden Daniels Caleb comparison, one thing when we talk about Caleb, listen, Caleb has some things he has to correct. He has some accuracy issues that have to be correct. And he has to correct the fact that he think he can just willy-nilly it. Yeah. You know, like it's something in him where he has to become more robotic in some ways with his throws because it leads sometimes to inaccurate passes, but I think he can get there. The reason I'm bringing this up compared to Jaden Daniels, tell me the last time we've seen a quarterback this clutch, again in this game, leading them into overtime, this clutch when it comes to, you know what I can do? I can close this game out. So that part, that like we're working backwards. The good thing about him is we're working backwards with him.
He's got all the stuff that you can't teach.
He has the crazy arm. He has the maneuverability. He has whatever. If you don't believe in clutch, clearly there is clutch because some people come through and some people can't.
He's got the ice in his veins.
Yeah, some people are you have the run game that me and you have went ad nauseum about. These weren't even the running backs you thought you wanted. So imagine if you get some other guys coming in there, right? We'll find out what happens. I hear you. Maybe Shapiro won't be healthy, but we'll find out what happens when it comes to the line. But you have a really good offensive line, right? You only have your linebackers are decent. Your DBs who have been banged up all year played their asses off this game. Byard in the back. How many backfield plays? Brisker
was outrageous.
Get the listen. It can be he can be
tackles and 1 sack for Jaquan Brisker. Dude was everywhere.
It can be a prove it 2-year or 1 year in an option, but get the checkbook out at this point, right? And he's been
he was healthy.
Yeah, a guy that had to relearn some things as far as mobility wise,
vestibular therapy. The type of concussion that he had with vestibular therapy. I mean, like, it's like your eyes can be out of whack. You know, you can just be, if you tilt your head too far to the left too quickly, it can make you dizzy. You know, you have to retrain your brain on how to be looking at distance, be looking at short distance.
And you're doing this quickly.
That was outrageous.
And you're doing this in an NFL game with how quickly things have to be processed. So like you just said, imagine fixing your eyes and trying to understand what's happening during a game when the quarterback's trying to trick you with his eyes and the offensive coordinator is trying to trick you. My point being, and again, I want you to bring the real so we can dive into and dissect this. But I don't think this is a woe is me if this was blown. And I'll say this too, for everybody. We're giving you 2 episodes a week in the offseason. All right. We got a hot episode coming up, maybe this week, maybe next week. I may need things to cool down about why this could be a blessing in disguise where Alex and I will debate.
Might be too hot on the block for that take right now.
They don't need it. They don't need it this week. They don't need it this week. The streets will explode. The streets will be exploding, right? They don't need it this week. But I just think that this, you know what this game was? This game was a microcosm of what this season kind of was.
Yes.
Right. And it was almost good enough, which now in zooming out, almost good enough to make it to the NFC Championship game. That's not bad. Right.
And we could talk about it with Caleb too, microcosm of Caleb. You know, I'm not going to read this guy's handle out loud because it's not safe for word, but it starts with a no. Yeah, he says Caleb definitely has to work on accuracy, and you mentioned this.
He does.
Yes, he does. Right. And what's very interesting about Caleb, and bringing it back to you talking about, he has all the intangibles, right? He has the it factor. He has the arm talent. He makes the ridiculous throws. I truly believe his upside is like Patrick Mahomes level. He makes the Patrick Mahomes plays. We've seen it so many times. They're not flukes, right? It's at this point, it's not a fluke. That is the upside. Obviously, that's the ultimate ceiling. That's the tippy top. So many guys don't reach their ceiling, Kenneth. So many guys don't reach that ceiling.
Under Baby Goat, though.
He's got the talent. He's got all the Baby Goat talent.
The Baby Goat is.
I'm not saying he's going to be him.
Quarterback. I'm not saying he's going to be him.
I'm saying that's the ceiling. Like, that's
respect on Baby Goat's name.
If everything goes 100% perfect and he develops,
he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks. Chances are he's going
one
to
of the
be
better
quarterbacks within the NFL.
Guy. Like, come on.
No, I was going to say because I think the top 3 will fluctuate.
Sure.
But I think he will reside, if he stays healthy, he will reside within the top 3. And the thing what will make him pop to the first is because he can close games out, which that's what you're getting to with the Baby Goat Patrick Mahomes thing is how is he innately able to close out a game where it seems like it should be over, where there's something in him that it doesn't matter.
So that's what I'm saying. So that's his ceiling, which we've seen all year. That is his absolute tippy top ceiling. He can be that good. We've seen it. But he won't be that good if he doesn't make more of the simple plays more often. We've seen him sail too many balls. Now, all quarterbacks are going to do it. All quarterbacks are going to miss guys. No quarterbacks are 10 for 10. No quarterbacks are 9 for 10. No quarterbacks are 8 for 10, right? You're going to miss throws. But he has to get more accurate. his completion percentage that has hovered around 50, 55, whatever, 60%, got to be closer to 70%. And a lot of that does start with him, and he admitted that. I think that was great. I love hearing that from Caleb Williams right after the game. Him right away saying, I got a lot of stuff to work on this offseason, namely my footwork and accuracy. That's exactly what you want to hear, because he does. Because so then if he starts, I'm not hating. Why are you hating it? First of all, I'm not hating.
You said that the window was closed.
I'm not saying the window is closed, Kenneth. I'm saying this was a hell of an opportunity, and I'm not trying to diminish the big picture. Big picture here is incredibly exciting. The Bears exceeded everybody's expectations. I think if you're talking to somebody and they said they would have a chance to win a game, to go to the NFC Championship game against the Rams, they would be driving, they'd have that opportunity, I think everybody would be like, what? Sure.
In Matthew Stafford's MVP year,
right?
Where
exactly. Matthew Stafford's
a receiver leads in yards and a receiver leads in touchdowns, and you shut them down. And again, I'm adding to your point. You shut them down,
right?
But
so I'm not hating. I'm just saying, like, this was an opportunity. I think that got past them. So that's the ceiling. That's the ceiling.
Yeah.
But he has to do those things, right? He has to get better in these ways.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I've lost my train of thought because we got to start.
I got you. Let me jump in. Let me jump in for you.
Jump in.
Okay. So this is the thing. So last year he led the league in sacks, correct?
Yes.
You did drastically improve the offensive line, but he went from like 60 something to 24 or something like that, I believe, prior to this game or whatever. You saw even during this season him go from holding on to the ball to, even if he still holds on to the ball, making that pass to Cole Kmet.
Huge leaps. He took huge leaps this year.
Wait, that pass to Cole Kmet. I was like, this is so over. Like, this was like, I was
only one other quarterback in the NFL makes that throw. It's Patrick Mahomes.
But the point being is that for me to push back on what you're saying, I think Caleb has showed us he will take the necessary steps to make the moves necessary. You're still right. We have to see it. Like, we still have to go through and seeing it, but it would be different if he was still making a plethora of mistakes that he was making last year.
Well, that leads me to my point that I was kind of forgetting about, that you led me right back to it.
I'll get you. Hold on.
Okay. All right.
But this is also him and Ben Johnson learning on the fly. Like that, like this is really, we don't really want to look at what this year was. This was a year where they really didn't get into a groove to damn near week 9, really week 10 or 11. You know what I'm saying? And still things weren't chopping all the way right. So we have to sit there and now see. But again, you're right. Things may not improve, but I think looking at one, having the best new coach in the NFL as far as guys that got hired this year, I think he's better than Liam Cohen. You have that guy, right? And also he has gonads, right? Like, and I want to see how far this is going to go if this bites him into you know what, right? But he has gonads, but he's smart as a whip. And then you said coaches were going to leave. I don't think anyone's coming for Dennis Allen this year. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. No, and I don't think you were saying him, but I know you have Harris.
Eric.
I know you have Harris. I know you have
Antoine Randall. These guys are going places.
Eric Bieniemy isn't going anywhere. All right, like unfortunately,
Eric Bieniemy linked to the Chiefs OC job if Matt Nagy gets a head.
Look, I did. First of all, that would be dumb as far as Matt Nagy getting a head coaching job. That would be really.
He's going to get another head coaching job.
But I would tell you this:
he'll get another one.
The Chiefs. No, I hope it's not this year. And it's not actually an interview with Matt Nagy, cool guy. I know a lot of people got bad things to say. Got the whole thing. I enjoyed talking to Matt Nagy, but the Chiefs should bring Eric Bieniemy in regardless if that Matt Nagy leaves or stays. I'm just being honest with you. Like, so if you're saying that, hey, Eric, the door is open if you get to go back there, but they should bring him. Clearly, have they been the same since he hasn't been there? Like, clearly they should bring him back. But I don't like if it's not an offensive coordinator job. I think Eric Bieniemy stays for several reasons. But go ahead. You said that you wanted to get into how you had lost your train of thought.
So the other thing that I think was troubling was I think Caleb put the ball in harm's way uncharacteristically. Not put the ball in harm's way, but made, like, in my opinion, bad decisions and bad throws. Typically, like, yeah, he's going to challenge guys and he's going to challenge tight windows. So he will put the ball in harm's way in that way. But his second interception, I mean, I don't know if he just never saw the underneath guy, but his target's, like, clearly double covered. And it's just like, man, that's a ball you probably want back. His first interception too, it was just, I don't think it was a good throw. And I don't think it was a good throw. The third one, we could talk a lot about the third one. And I wonder about this guy's future on the team. Chris Collinsworth was going in on DJ Moore and more guys afterwards. Terrell Owens, T.O. comes out of the woodwork to drag DJ Moore for the lackadaisical effort on that drag route. He got dragged for the drag route, right? Where I've now watched this a bunch of times. There's a lot of green grass. And Caleb Williams, if he is expecting DJ Moore to just break it off and run into that space, because he throws it right to that space, right at the numbers, I mean, that's a great catch. And now you're setting up Cairo Santos for a chip shot to win. So the third interception, I'm not going to put on Caleb. A lot of people who know a lot more about football than me, Terrell Owens, namely, has played a lot of good wide receiver. Chase Daniel, a lot of guys being like, DJ, he was like sleepwalking on that rep, like jogging. And I think Chase Daniel's like, dude, you're might be the primary read here. What are you doing here? So the last one, I'm not going to put on Caleb, but the other two, Caleb had done that at the beginning of the year, thrown the ball up where it's like, whoa, man, you can't throw that ball there. You like, that's a really bad decision. And then he had kind of settled down for a lot of that season, for a lot of his career, has been very, very good about not throwing interceptions. And two of them, I think, just really hurt this team. So that's a little bit of the up and down. That's a bit of the growth.
But the first one,
that's a bit of the roller coaster. So like, yeah, the upside is there. He's got to make the routine plays. The plays that you're supposed to hit 9 out of 10 times, he's got to hit 9 out of 10 times. And then you want to see him more and more and more not make those head scratching throws. And I think there were a few of them that really hurt them today.
So the second interception, you had the situation where it could have been Cole. It could have been Costa not running a proper route. Also, that's why the intercept. That's why Burden was.
Oh yeah. That is,
so
yeah, absolutely.
So that's really
there's
one. Yeah, there's again, not saying it's proven, but that second interception, Costa may have not run the route that he was supposed to run to pull that defender away from that situation. Why Burden was double covered, and Durant again made sure Durant got it that time. But again, look, man, I wish we can curse on here. It happens, and again, I'm not even caping for them. All right, for them to pull through, for them to be banged up, even with the DJ stuff. DJ has his pros, I guess, and his cons, but how many times has he had his ass kicked out there and he does not get out of the damn game?
Nah, dude's a warrior. Dude takes tons of big hits, is always in the blue tent, and is always
again
on the field.
Making the pass in the back, the great pass again. How many? That's like the third pass this year, if not the second one, in the back of the end zone. We've seen him hop over the defender to make sure that DJ can catch the ball. So maybe DJ is a damn good player. Yes, there are times like the interception that he threw. I don't know if it was the Packers or who was or if it was the 49ers, or if it might have been the Lions. Maybe been the Lions where DJ didn't fight for it going out.
Yeah, he just got bodied.
Yeah, but you gotta push the guy. You body my ass. You're too thick, not to power forward your ass and try to back him up at least. Flip side of that is just like the Puka Nacua breaking up the interception last week or whatever, where you have to do things like that. So again, I'm not saying that there's nothing that you can say against him, but I'm still saying, and again, we should be hard. I'm not one of those people that's like, let's not judge this harshly. Right? You know what I'm saying? But I do think if they're healthy next year, there's a lot of good that can come from this, depending on how the season shakes out, depending on the growth. Looking at the growth that they had this year. Like this is crazy. Like, and again, we'll probably the next episode, maybe the celebration, Alex, maybe that will be what we would celebrate. Yeah. And how we are Bears, you just
laid out the full plan. Here, let's get to it in a second. I'll give you the vibes. I'll give you the vibes side of the exact scenario I just laid out of DJ Moore is kind of jogging, half running this last play that ends up being an obviously pivotal moment. The upside play is, hey, here's another thing we've seen all season. Here's another, you want to talk about this game being a microcosm of the entire season? How many times this year have we seen Caleb Williams and his receivers just not on the same page? Because it's the first year of Ben Johnson's offense, and obviously it's a lot. And there are going to be miscommunications. There are going to be alignment issues. There are going to be shift issues. There are going to be route issues because this is their first year doing this thing with another training camp, another year, another everything. Ben Johnson knows the players better. The players know Ben Johnson better. Maybe things like that. Colson Loveland, thank you for bringing that up. That is kind of the issue of doing live streams. Live streams are wonderful, but we don't have time to review everything all the time. But yes, great call. Colson Loveland might have run a poor route, and that might have led to that interception. So maybe it wasn't all on Caleb Williams. I take it back. Caleb Williams is even better than I thought. He's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, like I said. But right in year 2 and year 3 are the quarterback and the wide receivers and the tight ends all going to know what they're doing. If they know what they're doing 80% of the time now, are they going to know what they're doing 99% of the time, 95% of the time?
Oh, okay. Oh, let me.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm using crazy.
Full stop on this mess, right? Okay.
They'll know what they're doing more often.
Okay. So let me dive into my bag. Let me
get in there,
back up and dive into this, right? McPherson.
McFadden? Jordan McFadden?
Yeah, McFadden. Thank you. I've said McPherson several times. McFadden. This is his second season or third season with the Bears?
Man, I don't even know.
I think this is his second. I think he's been
he's only played a handful of snaps
for 2 years. That's the point that I'm trying to get to, though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
One thing that we've talked about on here, going back to Tyson Bagent talking about how the backups are so much more prepared under this program than they were in the past, right? You sit here and we see when these backups are pressed to play, they're way better prepared than they've ever been, to answer your question, right?
Yeah.
So in that, so a lot of people at the beginning of the season were asking, like, why isn't Luther Burden playing over Zacchaeus? And Luther Burden didn't know all the plays and the routes, right?
Yeah.
It was, as far as a safety blanket, yes, Luther Burden is probably the most explosive player on the team, right? Probably him and DeAndre Swift I would put up there as the most explosive players. But he can be as explosive if you want, if you don't know what you're supposed to do, one in a given route, but one in an option. You know what I'm saying? Like, and let alone, you may not just know the plays all the way. I would think he's going to know more next year, particularly dangling the apple of, look how successful you've been when you didn't know the plays.
Just wait until you know all the shifts, man.
Colston Loveland is a stud. And I'm a Ty Warren guy, but Colston Loveland is a stud. Let's just be frank and honest. He is an air snatcher when it comes to grabbing the ball out of the air. Right? When we talk about Rome being a body catcher, that's not a problem for Colston Loveland, right? Like you're the guys that you have, I think, if they stay healthy, fit the program and the next steps. You have a coach that I think can choose the groceries properly to go along with an old sentiment of Bill Parcells while he was the coach of the Patriots and the Dallas Cowboys. As far as, if you want me to make the meal, let me make the groceries, implying what I'm saying. I like to be able to pick the players we're bringing in because I have to make up the schemes and the plays that they have to play rather than the general manager doing whatever the hell he wants to do.
No, these guys are working hand in hand for sure with the personnel.
Yeah, we're hand to hand that Ben Johnson leads to.
Give me Colson Loveland.
Yeah, like that. And Luther Burden, right? Like, it was like, hey, that running back, Trayvon Henderson's gone. Give me him, right? And then let's get Ozzie Trapillo. Like, they went offense the first 3 picks of the draft, right?
Yep.
Like,
get Ben Johnson his choice.
Right. And now, and then this is a plus, they can go heavy on defense with the first 3 picks of this draft. I'm not saying they're going to use all 3 of them, but yes, that's exactly it. Yes, right. You can sit there and say, if we want to settle the tackle situation with someone who is a penetrator, someone who maybe can be there for Billings, another edge rusher, you may sit there and say that Austin Booker is good enough, and maybe on the edge we'll bring in a vet, so it will be Austin Montez, and then maybe a project. But you have now the amount of holes. We're talking about a team, dog, and you know how we talked about. People was like, man, they need a left tackle. Dog, they need guards and a center. And we don't even know if the right tackle is good. The right tackle is nice, right?
The right tackle's an all-pro.
The right guard is good. The center is pretty good. Joe Thuney is a Hall of Famer. Ozzie Trapillo, if he's healthy, may be good enough to do what we need to do. But now we know in playoff stances, Joe Thuney, we're going to throw your ass out there at the left tackle.
And honestly, hey, we need to talk more about Jordan McFadden and Joe Thuney. Now is a good time to talk about Jordan Thuney and Jordan McFadden, who I looked it up. This is his 3rd season in the NFL. It was his 1st season with the Bears. He had not played very much in his entire career. The last 2 seasons, he played 3 snaps on offense before this game. In 2024 and 2025, he played 3 snaps on offense.
And look at where Dan Rochar and they got out of him,
man.
But you dissing the growth in people in the streets.
Hand up. You're right. Hey, you're right. Hand up. I didn't tweet this out or anything. I didn't put it out there because I just wasn't on Twitter at the time. But I was definitely in text threads being like, whoa, Joe Thuney left tackle and Jordan McFadden is the plan? I don't know about this, because Joe Thuney was really good for a handful of games at left tackle for the Chiefs. And then that Super Bowl came in, and he was in trouble. Joe Thuney was in hell at left tackle in that Super Bowl.
We don't talk about that Super Bowl.
Joe Thuney was in hell. So I was skeptical. I was skeptical of the plan. This is another growth point for me. Growth point
on Jared versus ass
for Alex Shapiro in 2025. Trust Ben Johnson and trust the plan and trust Dan Rochar, because, man, Joe Thuney was dang good at left tackle.
Dude.
And Jordan McFadden got the job done at left guard. So hats off to the 2 of them. What a phenomenal performance from those 2 guys.
Big Cheese. I don't know if you just came in, but that's what we were saying.
Yeah.
That they have to do both.
They need a DT and a DE.
They basically need 1.5 on the edge, if not 2, and 2 in an interior. But you were just saying, but Alex, you know one thing too? I think we need to say this too.
Yeah.
I think this settles if there's ever going to be a job competition between Theo and Ozzie, even though that seems settled, that this tells us how they feel about Theo Benedict.
Braxton Jones was inactive after we talked so much about Braxton Jones being activated from IR. But we talked about that. Oh,
that was an emergency.
IR. He was going to be.
But we know how they look. They don't feel comfortable that he can protect the quarterback. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, and has he? Because do you think about what Jared Verse would have done to him if he was out there? And look, the same thing he said that he was going to do to Joe Thuney, do the broadcast, as far as, oh, you got a guy that's 290 and I only worry about guys 350. he would have bull rushed the living you know what out of Braxton Jones out there. And that slim backside that Braxton Jones has, where the Tookus has to stop something. That's what you have to know.
Ben Johnson said that after the game. Ben Johnson said after the game.
He said the Tookus had to stop something?
He said the Tookus got to stop something. No, he said, listen, we know what they're bringing on the defensive line. We needed a guy who could anchor. We felt pretty good about Joe Thuney anchoring. And sure enough, I mean, it's not like Jared Verse was invisible. He had 2 TFLs. He had 2 quarterback hits, no sacks. You're not gonna shut down Jared Verse all day, but they did a pretty good job of minimizing him. And that took us, that anchor. Yeah, Joe Thuney. So shout out.
With a guard. You're doing that with the guard. Regardless of anything, it's spot duty. You did it with a guard, right? And again, like you say, shout out to them being able to pull it off. They still lost, right? There was opportunities to win. I'm not trying to make this all rose-colored. They should have won the game when you look at the opportunities that they had. But this was a team playing with house money for a long, long time. Yeah. And sometimes there's a country singer that we all know. His name is I was about to say Willie Nelson, and it's not Willie Nelson. It's the Gamble.
Chris Christopherson.
No,
Kenny Loggins.
No, it's not Kenny Loggins. Oh my God, it's Kenny Rogers.
Kenny Rogers.
And
country is not my forte. I'm so sorry.
Gee, we see it's not either one of ours. But it's you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to run away. No, and that was this. That you got to know the house money was on the line, and again, a field goal early, the game is tied again. I'm just putting that like a field goal. Like sometimes, and this is a thing where we've talked about this with Ben Johnson. He's going to have to learn as a gambler when sometimes he has to hold them. That's just and I'm a big Ben Johnson guy, but that Detroit BS of 4th downs effort, you can't do it all the time.
That's how they've been,
though. But guess what? And guess what? To your point, when you said earlier where Detroit, they could be like Detroit, and I'm like, well, Detroit and Washington aren't the same because Washington. It seems like what looked like a window is closed. Not to say it may not open up, but Detroit has had seasons, and Detroit hasn't learned the lesson of points on the board. Dog, sometimes those threes stack up. That's just the truth of the matter.
It could have been 9-7, right?
Those threes.
Pick those 3 field goals off the top. It's 9-7 instead of 7-7.
Those threes, the threes stack up, man. You sometimes. You have to know. And again, he's a rookie head coach, right? But he has to know. And again, I look, me, you, and Josh used to argue on Under Center so much when Eberflus used to do this. And I was like, the offense sucks. Why do they think they can score 2? And why do they think they can go on 4th when they can't even score regularly? Right. And but again, you guys' points were valid. One, the league has changed, right? And one with him, particularly 2-point conversions and 4th downs, they actually get it done. But the thing is to know when I need to use my trick power.
I think the thing is, I think Ben Johnson was expecting my defense is going to give up 35, maybe 40 points.
Yeah, I think
especially early in that football game. Early in that football game, he's probably thinking like, dude, we probably got to put up 35. Yeah. If you told Ben Johnson at the beginning, your defense is going to hold the Rams to 17 points in regulation, I bet he is kicking those field goals. But he's watched this defense just like we have, man.
Some of this is ego, but look, some of this is ego. Some of this is I'm gonna show you MFers. Because look, you had LaFleur last week. Now you got LaFleur mentor.
Yeah, exactly.
You think he wasn't going to say, you think Sean McVay didn't come in here like, I'm going to show you for disrespecting my guy, right? And you think that Ben Johnson was like, oh, I'm going to double down on the disrespect because I'm Ben Johnson, right? Like, again, some of this and the thing that we've talked about is ego.
So what's actually interesting, what's interesting about this little growth point potentially for Ben Johnson, and might have worked out a lot differently when the Bears tied the game or just had to kick an extra point to tie the game and send the game to overtime. Ben Johnson said he was considering going for 2 and going for the win. But he opted not to based on the performance of the offense. He goes, our short yardage had been bad. Our execution inside the 5, we had a plan for what was going on inside the 5. It wasn't working out. So we said, hey, man, let's kick this thing and live to die another day.
But also the old rule of you're at home.
Sure.
Right?
That's absolutely. Yes.
Your
defense had been playing well.
Your defense is playing well.
Totally. It was the right move.
Go.
And I think.
Yeah. Like, again, because we saw, hey, this wasn't the game for you. And there was a couple of times where we're like, oh, the Rams are ending it. And they kept being able to resuscitate a chance at victory. But this wasn't the game for you. And again, listen, great season. I think that we need to punt some of this to our midweek episode.
Yeah.
Is there anything before we get into extra points and game balls you want to go over before we get up out of here?
I do want to shout out Howie R. Bears, who in the chat has laid out a very detailed, and we can give very brief thoughts, but Howie R. Bears has laid out a very detailed plan for the Chicago Bears offseason that I want to highlight because next episode, we're going to have a new chat. It's going to be different, and I don't want to lose this, so it's great. So Howie R. Bears starts with a surprise. Jaquan Brisker is going to the Jets for a 3-year deal worth $36 million and says his concussions aren't worth it for the Bears. Then the Bears' strong safety becomes C.J. Gardner-Johnson. We are moving C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who apparently has been re-signed, to strong safety where he played with the Eagles, where he played with the Lions for a little bit. He's no longer the spot.
Coverage is a problem, even in
you're just bringing him in the box. You're just bringing him in the box to bang guys.
Okay.
And then Tyreek and Terrell Smith are the backups. So I guess Nashawn Wright remains CB2. So you have to re-sign Nashawn Wright and let Jonathan Owens go. I will be sad to see all the photos of Jonathan Owens and Simone Biles together. That's fun. That's a fun little side story. You're shaking.
We need that. We need that for national coverage.
We need the Simone Biles of it all.
Oh, yeah.
We need to keep
her outfits. For like the fact that she had to go to Green Bay and think about this. She either had to PJ to Green Bay or fly into Chicago and get to Green Bay when he was playing there. And now she gets to just come to Chicago. Also, and she's the greatest. First of all, she's the greatest gymnast of all time. We need to have her around. Championship culture. He's a backup. We're not paying him starter money.
On special teams. He's fine on special teams. And you want that championship culture of the greatest gymnast alive.
Yes, we need the GOAT. The GOAT.
Okay, so that's step 1 out of many steps. Step 2, renegotiate, extend Tremaine from 1 year, $17 million to 3 year, averaging 12 a year or else. Tremaine, up and down year. There were times where he looked great. There were times where when he had to be the guy, didn't look
and lost the green dot.
I wonder how much of that success has to do with position changing and how much of that trouble has to do with moving back and forth. They moved. I
think Dennis Allen also let us know the type of guy that he wants. So that's something too. Right? Think about Tremaine Edmonds is the freakish athlete and TJ Edwards is the dog. And he's letting you know that he likes the dog a little bit more, even though like Tremaine had some games, man. Let's not forget before he got hurt.
He was battling.
Yeah, let's not let's put some respect on his name to a degree. And the Roschon Smith thing always messes it up too, where it's like
Roquan Smith.
Thank you. I don't know. I always do that.
Roschon Johnson.
Yeah, I always flip Roschon Johnson and Roquan Smith. But the Roquan thing influences how we feel about what Edmonds is. Right. And even to a degree, they're separate, but I understand conflating them.
Different linebackers doing different things. Roquan.
Right. Because you're talking about a guy in a 4-3 that really should be weak side, and they wanted him to play the middle, which he has to go backwards. And what you saw with Tremaine Edmonds is the length like an old Bears middle linebacker and Brian Urlacher to be able to deflect and affect more passes over the middle. So it's not the same thing when you're talking about an apples to apples comparison.
Absolutely great points, Kenneth. Number 3, re-signed DeMarco. I imagine DeMarco Jackson for $3 million a year. I think they'd be super happy to have that guy back. What a super sub DeMarco Jackson was. Again, played, I think, pretty darn good for the Chicago Bears. So, yeah, that feels like a no-brainer. Number 4, let Smythe go. Consider Foster Moreau at $2 million. I actually think Durham Smythe did pretty good. And the Bears 13 personnel kind of became a bread and butter for them towards the end of the season.
If I'm worried about the third tight
end, your blocking tight end who catches like 2 passes.
I'm with you. Fine. I think he's fine. But I also think if they wanted someone else to do the job, you would be able to do that too. Like it's just one of those. But your point is valid. He did really well, particularly catching the ball when you're talking about a guy that you're thinking about is being primarily a blocker. He did pretty well.
Played like fullback. They had all 3 tight ends playing fullback.
But everybody damn near played fullback this season.
Alameda Zacchaeus playing fullback at some time.
Right. Exactly. DJ. Like everybody was back there.
But now we've gotten to CJ Gardner-Johnson. He will be re-signed for $4 million with incentives up to $6 million a year. I honestly think that's fine. Like CJ Gardner-Johnson has bounced around a lot. It seems like he is really at home with Dennis Allen, and it feels like those 2 guys should stick together. CJ Gardner-Johnson, it might behoove him to stick with Dennis Allen. That's a good pair. 6.
No, he should go and get paid, then get cut again,
then come back. Go get your bread, and we'll see you in week 5.
Right.
Re-sign Kevin Byard for 1 year, $11 million, and draft a free safety in round 3. Okay, Kevin Byard, all-pro. Kevin Byard had a phenomenal year. Father Time will catch up with him. Father Time is undefeated. But you want to talk about another vet, good guy to have, do breaking down the huddle before games? What's your thing with Kevin Byard?
Only problem. So you're asking, like you just said, Father Time, and with the Brisker thing, the issue is you saw in coverage what Brisker can do, because I think you were looking at him as being primarily a box safety, but you see what he can do in coverage too. And you really need both safeties to be able to play free at times. You know what I'm saying? So that's it, particularly with an older Kevin Byard. And now you're saying an older Kevin Byard and a kid that's learning. And then we're going to have another person learning at strong.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've talked about this. I don't know if you bring everybody back. I think one of those old DBs you probably shouldn't initially bring back. There's questions as far as what you do. I wouldn't be mad at Nahshon Wright coming back, because I wonder. Now, this is your thing with Al Harris getting another job. I think they have a great coaching staff, but I think Al Harris and him and their connection, they can work really on tuning some things up. I loved how he broke down and caught Kyron Williams from behind. Like, there's nothing better if you've ever played football, but seeing, because you grow up hearing your coaches say, all right, you get in the backfield and you break down behind that O-line. You don't just take an angle. You basically behind the line, and he came in from the right side, and then he broke down to the left to be able to tackle Kyron Williams. And I think he tackled him behind the line of scrimmage. I could be wrong. It may have been for a yard. But regardless, when you see that type of execution, and if he can do the little things, because the thing with Nahshon Wright is we know he can do the big things, and it could just be a fluky year where he did it, but can he do the little things? Yep. So I'll be interested. But you can't stay the same either.
Today, also Nahshon Wright, after he was banged up, like not banged up, but like he was getting torched. Delayed props for Nahshon Wright. 26 was not getting burned by very good wide receivers for the Rams. Very good wide receivers. He was playing good coverage. So shout out Nahshon Wright. 7 is re-sign Nahshon Wright for 3 years, $33 million. Quite a payday for Mr. Wright. But you know what? He was your CB2 this year, and you probably want
to get him for cheaper than that.
All right, GM Davis says,
I know we can get him. Who for real? Now you got to think. Some team does it. I think a team will give him a payday, but I think they're also going to be cautious with, is this just a fluke? So they may hit him with a large 1 year deal. It may be a 2 year deal, but really it's a 1 year deal. But I think he probably likes it here, so you can probably get him with 2 and an option for something, and then get to that second year if he's playing well and get to negotiating. But still, I mean, most of this stuff is good. I know Chopper City is up in here going bananas on K.
We'll get there. All right, number 8. Case Keenum to quarterbacks coach, which I guess means JT Barrett either got another
I told
job
you that.
or he's getting fired.
I told you that.
Or he's getting fired. You're firing JT Barrett?
I told you.
He is another coach. He's the QB3. He's always inactive.
I think they need no. I told you this, and this was after I think it was the Lions game. They need a vet. I don't care how much he plays. They need a former stud at wide receiver to be in that wide receiver room, and they need a former stud to be in that quarterback room. They do. I'm telling you, he doesn't have. Neither one has to play. It can be a player coach. But they need someone who has lived in those battles to be in there with Caleb, and someone who lived in those battles to be in there with those wide receivers. I'm just telling you, that's my opinion.
Andy Dalton, come on back, Andy Dalton.
No, we don't. It wasn't. It was the love wasn't there. I'll have to go through. I'm trying to think.
Phillip Rivers, how much do you like coaching?
Phillip Rivers isn't gonna. I've said that's what I use, but it wouldn't be. It definitely wouldn't be Phillip Rivers.
Joe Flacco?
That one wouldn't be bad.
Joe Flacco?
That one wouldn't be a bad one. And this to lay back out like that one wouldn't. But they need a guy who did it in there with Caleb.
And he slung it too. That dude had arm talent.
Right. They need a guy that was a player that Caleb can bounce, that Caleb respects. That's the real thing.
Bears, you got some traction. Howie our Bears has fired JT Barrett. We are promoting Case Keenum to quarterbacks coach, and Joe Flacco, you are the new emergency QB. Congratulations. Number 9, commit, restructure, extend. I think this is the most interesting one. What on earth do the Bears do with Cole Kmet, who's had some big moments late, had some big moments when Colston Loveland was hurt?
They don't let him. You can't let Cole Kmet go.
You're paying a tight end a whole lot to be, let's be honest, you're a tight end too.
Okay, but you're not paying your tight end 1. He's still on a rookie deal.
True.
So, and you like being in 12, and you just said 13. There's no reason
to get rid of him.
There's no reason to hurt your 12 and 13 package when you have a great blocker and Cole Kmet. Sometimes he's not, and a really good catcher for a guy who's not fast, but he's good enough with speed. We don't have to talk about until Colston Loveland gets to getting paid in 3 years. We don't really need to talk about Cole going for at least another year or two easily. Let's re-sign Cole.
He's got 2 years left. He's got 2 years left of his 4-year, $50 million deal.
He got fresh. Like there's no way that you get rid of a guy that takes the hits, catches the ball. Yes, he's not who we thought he was going to be, but that's not who he was in the first place. We were sold a false bill of goods that he was going to be this great pass catching tight end, and he's more of a combo guy. But now you have the pass catching tight end, and it gives the combo guy more opportunities because you focus on the damn pass catching tight end.
I'm all on board. I'm all on board with what Kenneth Davis is preaching. 10, nose tackle, Lorenzo Fatukasi. I have no idea. 1 year, $2 million. We're on week 3 of free agency with Howie our Bears. We're talking about 1 year, $2 million deals. 11, nose tackle Billings or Kalen Saunders, 1 year, $3 million. Big Bill. It is interesting. Big Bill had been really good for a long time, and Big Bill had some moments, but it wasn't the Big Bill we all saw this year. I don't know. What do you think, Kenneth?
I think it's coming to an end, and he's done. I think that's the thing why I said you probably have to get 2 new tackles, because you got to get a nose, and you probably need a young guy, but you got to get a nose in there, and you got to get someone who can collapse the pocket. You have to do that in this draft.
Yeah. Okay, now we're getting real interesting, and we will try and breeze through these. Now we're getting real interesting. We are talking trades with the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to merge 12 and 13. 12, trade Tavondre Sweat. Acquire him in a trade with the Tennessee Titans, and acquire 3 technique Jeff Simmons from the Tennessee Titans. You're just taking the entire Tennessee Titans interior, which, by the way, is really good. I'm sure the Bears would love both of those players. Jeffrey Simmons would be crazy on this team. But, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting crossroads, right?
Sounds good if we're playing Madden. And then I will have to, you know how many players I would get from free agency and bring on my team and try to fit on the cap to try to get those players, but I would still have to give away some. Again, if you can get one of them, it would be good. But getting both of their interior tackles doesn't seem the most likely scenario moving forward. But I love
Simmons would be very good on this football team.
But how we are, we're gonna be doing this into the draft and free agency. So make sure you're back here as we move forward. Make sure everybody is back here 2 times a week. We're not going away. 2 episodes. Let's sit here. We're gonna do some live streaming. Let's come together and try to figure this out as a team, all of us in the chat, Alex and myself. But just like Skylark said, props to Dennis Allen. I love that. Put that right there. That one right there. Props to Dennis Allen with the duct tape. That's a good one. Duct tape defense. That's a good one right there, Skylark. Because a lot of people was taking so many shots at Dennis Allen, and he didn't have anything in the cupboard, but we were acting like he had all the groceries, all right, and all the seasonings, and he had nada. And he pulled off these. He helped the Bears win the beginning of the season. His defense was the reason they were winning. All right, let's not forget that, right? And there was very few. They was bending and breaking, but there was very little breaking a lot of times throughout this season. So that's the real thing. There was so much Dennis Allen slander this past week.
If the chat was running the team, he would have been fired at halftime last week.
Which is wild. All right. Like that lets you know how you don't appreciate having a veteran defensive coordinator on your team, and you don't have 4 down linemen that can get the job done. And you see when Kyler Gordon is finally healthy all the way, that he's like, I got my stuff. Let's go.
He was healthy all the way.
But he was healthy. Hey, the drugs was flying. The drugs were flying through his system. The good stuff, not the bad stuff. The stuff to help him perform as far as the pain medication. But he was ready to go. But yeah, game balls. What you got for me?
No game balls and a loss. Sorry, man. Bears lose. No game balls. We gave a lot of people flowers. Jaquan Brisker, you played great.
Kyler Gordon, you played great. I got 3 game balls.
All right.
I got 3 game balls right now. All right. Brisker, Gordon, Dennis Allen. All right. That was a 7. You held them basically to 17 points. The best scoring offense in the league. You did your damn job, Dennis Allen. All right. It's not his fault they didn't score more points. So I'm not even going to blame. Dennis Allen pulled everything out and was looking like the beautiful mind dude, Russell Crowe, right? Trying to figure out the numbers or whatever.
He's writing on the glass in the locker room.
Yes, right. Dennis Allen did everything he could. So we're not going to abuse him because the offense didn't get it done. So particularly when we burnt his what. We're not going to do that. That's not fair. We have a really good defensive coordinator here, right? And imagine if he had down linemen. All right. So those are my game balls, all right, for those 3 people. That's all the game balls I believe that I have. We will give out seasonal awards sometime in the upcoming weeks, but I'm going to give those DBs and Dennis Allen for sticking it to them, and basically after the first touchdown, stopping the MVP of the league. All right, presumably, right?
Oh yeah,
presumably, right? Like so,
I presume
that. So you're talking about something that hasn't been happening since Tom Brady, Randy Moss, and Wes Welker. Thank you, Wecker.
It's late. It's late, y'all, guys.
Yes, and that's why we're about to get out of here.
It's now Sunday,
and I had to work and then come home and watch.
He worked.
All right, so you're talking about yards, touchdown, yards, right? No, touchdowns
and passing
yards, touchdowns. Right? He had threw the most touchdowns. He caught the most touchdowns. He had the most yards, and you stifled all of that. You get props for that. In a playoff game, all right, when we talked about avoiding the NFC West and you almost took it. Like, this was a game that you guys probably should have won, and it wasn't on the defensive side that you probably should have won. So we're going to give them their props.
That's your prerogative. I say no game balls and all.
Hey, it is my prerogative. It is my prerogative, and I'm right. Any extra points that have to do with football before we get out of here? So I don't want to hear about no album that just came out.
No, I got no extra points. We've been streaming 12:50. I'll bring you more music recs and reality TV later this year.
I got an extra point. Hey, shout out to Seattle for making the best decision that Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah didn't make, and that's holding on to Sam Darnold, but also really drafting that defense. Because after I was watching them, she's like, "Why do they defensive players look different from everybody else?" Just how I was just, because they're beasts. It was like, different. Hey, shout out to the Seattle Seahawks for winning the Super Bowl. That's my extra point for this game.
Do you know what is honestly maybe the most disappointing for me personally?
Mm-hmm.
We were robbed of the SC Bowl. Sam Darnold versus Caleb Williams, who's the best SC quarterback in the league. Sam Darnold, who had the greatest Rose Bowl victory of recent memory, just unbelievable performance in the Rose Bowl. But Caleb Williams won the Heisman. He didn't have the hardware, the team hardware, but we were robbed of that. Two SC legends. Man, that's a bummer. That would have been great. That would have been great personal theater for me.
For you, being an SC alum, but guess what? We have the best SC quarterback in the league. All right. Sam Darnold's just getting his stuff together. Before I almost used the curse word. All right. He's just getting his stuff together in year 6 or 7, where Caleb is in year 2, bringing back, with not that defense, bringing teams back. So, yeah, I think
the New York Jets are a hell of a drug. The New York Jets are a hell of a drug.
Yeah, say that also to the Carolina Panthers and the Minnesota Vikings, just to name a couple of teams that he's visited along his path.
Yeah.
But all right, everybody, we'll be back this week. Like, subscribe. Also follow us. Follow me at That's Davis. Alex, what's your handle on the social medias?
You can find me
You got
at Alex Shapiro, and then 4 underscores.
All right.
Alex Shapiro ______.
So everybody, we appreciate it. Yes, we're upset, but man, this is one hell of a season, and we're going to dive into this season, and we're going to dive into what the Bears need to do moving forward. We appreciate you for taking this time tonight to sit here and chat it up in the chat with us. Chat, what's going on, chat?
Yeah,
about what's going on. He said not having to play the Seahawks is a blessing in disguise. No.
Listen, stay tuned for Kenneth Davis and a couple more episodes. Kenneth Davis is cooking something up for you.
No Dogma 7.
No Dogma 7 is on the same page as Kenneth Davis.
No Dogma 7. All right, everybody. We'll be back in a few days to go over the Bear season. Everybody be safe, and appreciate it. Talk to you later.